I'm Mark Hancock, an ambassador for the Public Health Collaboration, and with me I've got Olly Lester. And Olly, I don't know if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I am a health coach. Currently I'm in the NHS surgery of the New Forest. But yeah, I'm also kind of affiliated to the PHC as well. And yeah, we kind of conjured up the idea of the Real Food Runners website and movement.
Yeah, and
Happy to share a bit around.
how did that I mean, sort of all come about? I mean, obviously we're both health coaches, aren't we? So, and we both deal with people that have got type 2 diabetes and that type of thing. We're trying to get them back to remission. We both get involved quite a lot, like we say, with the public health collaboration. Um, but there's been a lot of stuff about ultra processed foods and the damage and the issues that we can see, the fallout from the amount that we eat these days. And you sort of picked up on a sort of a vibe or things that were going on in your local park run, didn't you?
Yeah, so my local park runs Bournemouth, and I go there most weekends. If I'm there, I'll do it. But it was a couple of years ago. I twigged that the vegan running movement are very easily identifiable, and I noticed at the start of the run and the end of the run, people who didn't know each other were kind of uniting and connecting, having just got this real food. Sorry, the vegan running t-shirt. So it's easy to spot. It's black and green, easily stand out. So, and that connection with their way of thinking is obviously there. But from what we know in the PHC, in our health coaching business, vegan doesn't equal human health, which we can share plenty of resources that disagree with their movement. But the thing I picked up on was their connection, and the community is amazing. And if you look at the website, they've got thousands of members, very successful, and they all sort of connect and bond over this movement of running and vegan food. But we thought, well, yeah, it kind of just occurred to me that we could create a better movement with that philosophy in mind. So connecting over running and park running in particular. And yeah, that we put a few ideas to the other PHC ambassadors through their social media, and I think it was the Facebook group at the time. Got some ideas and spoke to Sam and spoke to you, who I know you are a keen runner anyway. And yeah, we kind of just built it from not much into online community. But yeah, the element of meeting up is brilliant. With the aim of spreading this real food runners movement to hopefully overtake the other community, which is very successful. But
it's pretty
probably
well
not.
established, isn't it? The vegan,
Yeah,
and a very simple message as well, isn't it? Because if you look at their shirts, it just pretty much says vegan runners, doesn't it? It
yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
explain anything or if there are benefits or whatever the situation is. But everyone who is a real vegan runner, already a vegan runner, they can say, "Oh, look, there's somebody over there."
Yeah,
And they've got that connection, haven't they?
yeah, exactly right. So, yeah, I've not got my shirt on like yourself, Mark, but yeah, we've got this real food running movement, and hopefully we can build connections using this method, but for a
Yeah.
lot more success in metabolic health, which you don't always get from the vegan way of life. So, but real food,
No.
there's more opportunity to succeed, I think, in overall health.
And I think that's where I guess where I was sort of coming from when we had that initial chat, and I was thinking, well, there's so much ultra processed food out there, isn't it? If you go into the typical supermarket, I mean, if you walk around the outskirts of the supermarket and you've got the meat section and the dairy and the cheese counter, the fish counter, all that fruit and vegetables. I think people probably generally would suggest that is real food, but where people need some little bit of support and help is to actually understand what ultra processed foods are. And we know obviously that aisle after aisle after aisle in the supermarket, it's just packed full of it, isn't it? All of these items which full of ingredients that we wouldn't have in our kitchen. wrapped in plastic or whatever it is that they wrap it in. And the ingredients list sometimes can just go on and on and on. And we're now seeing that there's just so many health conditions, poor health outcomes from all of this food, which we weren't really eating, were we? If you think back to, when I grew up in the 70s. I don't know if I'm portraying your age. No, you would have been the 80s, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
80s,
grown up in the 80s.
you would have grown up in the, now when I grew up in the 70s, it was all about home cooked foods. I sort of tell this story that I knew exactly what I was having for dinner that night because I could see all the ingredients laid out. So when I went off to school, I could see all the ingredients laid out, so I could decide whether I wanted to fake a tummy upset, because I didn't really fancy it, but it was real foods. It was all things like liver and cottage pies, but it was all homemade. It was all homemade stuff. And then something changed. And for me, it changed in the 80s. And I don't know whether you noticed it or not, but I remember my mom started to go out to work at the same time as my dad, because my mom had generally been at home doing that sort of the cooking and everything. Now she started to go out to work as well. And they bought this big chest freezer. And I remember when it turned up and we looked in there and it was just empty. I think there was one packet of something in the bottom of it, because we'd gone from, I don't know if you remember in the freezer section, or it was literally just one shelf, wasn't it, in a fridge that had you could put like ice pops in it or something. I mean, that was about the limit of what you'd have in there. And my mum and dad said, this is going to be really useful. We can just fill this thing up with foods, prepackaged food, things that you can just put in the oven for 20 minutes and things like that. And pretty much overnight, it did fill up. And overnight, our food changed. I think the only home cooked meal we would have during the week was then on a Sunday, when my mum would do a roast dinner. The rest of the week, it was things like burgers and fish fingers and chips, and that it was easy stuff that we could just put in the oven, or I could reheat in the microwave when I come home. So I know that's when it changed for me. And the thing was, I also remember, and I'm waffling on here, but I also remember how good it tasted. I'd been given things like liver and onions, which I wasn't really enjoying, to suddenly now I was getting burgers, chips, and beans, and those types of foods. And of course, so that all sort of changed for me. But of course, I also could see that by the time I got into my mid-20s, my health, and which I now know is my metabolic health, was really starting to fall apart. So I started to put on a lot of weight, became type 2 diabetic in my 30s. So of course you can see it everywhere, can't you? You can see, I mean, I don't know about you, if you go into a built-up area where there's lots of people, you can just see the sickness everywhere, even if they're not recognizing themselves. The weight people now carry, the illnesses, they seem that they look tired. And it really is that the root cause is all this ultra processed foods that we're eating, that we're not eating. It's not real, is it?
Yeah, agree with all that. And I live in Bournemouth, and because it's August, I'm down the beach a lot, whether it's walking or swimming or running or cycling. And it's even more noticeable in the summer because, if you just sit on the promenade, it's just so clear and obvious. And every kind of 100 meters along the prom is ice cream, fish and chips, and burgers, either or all of the above. And our environment is stacked against us, and it's kind of made for profit, made for addiction. And when you kind of come out the other side having or kind of seeing through all the marketing and all the tactics that food and beverage companies use, you just see it all as poison in my view. That's kind of what I see it. I could buy poison every 100 meters along the pond.
You don't look at it as treats,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
Because that I mean, generally that's what. But they probably don't realize that actually most of the things they're eating is ultra processed food anyway, and then having treats on top.
Yeah, that word treat. I mean, I've kind of I'd also had that upbringing in the 80s of treats equal sweets and chocolate and all that. But now I just see that as just kind of self-harm, if you like.
Mm.
Yeah, it manifested in my body as like gum disease, and I had really bad dental health for ages. I didn't really twig about what I was eating and drinking for ages. I had an effect on that. So that's my kind of reason for initially changing away from ultra processed foods. But then my dental health has improved, as well as overall metabolic health and mental health for sure. Just putting
Yeah.
better fuel in equals better results, and
And you do notice it, don't you? I mean,
100%.
this is something. I mean, well, I noticed it, but also the patients, people I deal with, that mental clarity, that brain fog lifting,
Yeah.
and we're forever sort of saying, hold on to that, rather than look at what the scales are saying, hold on to that feeling, because you feel better, don't you, when you start eating real foods. Generally, your life, I almost put it down to as you was almost turning back the clock. You're going back to how you used to feel. You remember that feeling of having lots of energy and being able to
Yeah.
do things, and rather than, I was speaking to someone the other day and they said, do you know what? I used to have my breakfast and then fall asleep. Breakfast.
Yeah. Crazy, isn't it?
I mean, just nodding off during the day,
Yeah.
because they're so tired, the body's under so much pressure. So anyway, we got it, didn't we? And we thought, is there a way that we can get this message out to the general public? And with Park Run, it was our local community, and of course, you, Ollie, myself, we get on. We were obviously at different park runs because we're slightly different parts of the country, but you get to know certain people over the years, and you realize that actually, despite the fact they're turning up and running it all the time, they're not getting any healthier. They're not losing weight. They're not, it seemed to be the people that were big. I mean, I can even see people that have got bigger, and you think, but you're running all the time, you're exercising all the time, you're even running during the week. Yet that's not enough. That's not making any difference to your overall health. And so we kind of recognize that, wouldn't it be great if we could get a simple message out to our local park runs, because that's where we see families. A lot of times that's where we see families, as opposed to probably rocking up at a half marathon or something like that, where you're just going to see individual runners. This is where you're seeing mums and dads, little ones, and that type of thing, to try and get that message across that actually, if you're turning up and wearing the shirt and you've got Real Food Runners written on it, it opens up conversations that someone will come up and say, what's that all about? And try to get that message across that actually, do you know what? If I looked at your shopping, the chances are the average person is going to be over half of their trolley is going to be ultra processed foods. In some parts of the country, it's like 80% of what they're eating is ultra processed. And you can see all the poor health outcomes that are coming from those areas. So we kind of wanted to try and do it, not to be overbearing, but actually by wearing the shirt is actually someone will come to us and say, what's that all about? Or as someone said to me the other day, they said, what is that? What is that? Is that like a little Martian that's on your shirt? And I said, well, what do you think it is? He went, it's like a little man from Mars, isn't it? And I said, it's an egg. And I asked his wife, and I said, what do you think it is? She said, it's an egg, isn't it? Obviously, yeah, it's an egg. So we hope the symbol of the egg, or Egbert, I think as it's called, really gave the message of this is real food. And if we could turn up enough, we wear these shirts enough, bit by bit, the public will start to pick up on, actually, do you know what? Maybe I need to think a little bit more about what I'm not only feeding myself, but what I'm giving my children. And maybe we can do something about that. So we took that to Sam Feltham, who's the director of the Public Health Collaboration, and said, we'd love to do this under the banner of the Public Health Collaboration. What do you think? And he was very supportive, wasn't he? So hence that's why we're doing this. So the public, for anyone who doesn't know, the Public Health Collaboration is a nationwide charity to help people implement healthy food decisions, choices for their families, that type of thing, and turn around all these chronic conditions, type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure and all these other issues that we're seeing regularly being brought to our local GP surgeries.
Yeah.
So So we took it to them. They said, yeah, they'll support us. And then they came up with some designs for our shirts to wear. So we chose one of those. And then of course then we've been sort of more and more people have been joining us, haven't they? And we're seeing runners now and walkers, obviously park runners and park walkers, wearing this shirt up and down the country. And hopefully that's opening up conversations. Do you find it opens up conversations when you're
Yeah, I do.
with?
At the start or the finish normally, but yeah, the more people you kind of run past, you'll get to see the back of the shirt, won't they? And
Yeah,
just building awareness. And
that's it. And if anybody can see this on the video, then I brought another one which says that, which says this runner is real food fueled. So yeah, as you run past them or walk past them or whatever, then it hopefully gives a little bit added to the message, really, that actually, yeah, we are powered by real food. We're not powered by pizza and chips. But that's not the plan anyway. So we can do all this stuff just by eating good food, and hopefully improving our health and improving our times and getting fitter and healthier and stronger as we go along. So yeah, so the other things that we try to do, so there's a website, isn't there? There's a website which is realfoodrunners.org. That's right, isn't it?
yeah, that's right.
And you can order the shirt.
Yeah, that's step one, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Buy a shirt and start a conversation if you're walking and running or volunteering, and then you can then link your park run profile to your chosen running club. Which, yeah, if it would be great if you could click on Real Food Runners, and then it's kind of every time you finish and get a time, your little Real Food Runners comes up on the results page. And again, that's kind of just building awareness slowly. We've also got a Facebook page, which Mark, you run very successfully.
Yeah, I mean, I love doing it because
Yeah,
what we try to do on a Sunday is I get all the kind of the results and everything come in, and I don't focus on who's the fastest or who's the best or anything like that. All I'm looking for is individual improvements. If someone gets a personal best, then I'll give them a shout out. And anyone at the moment, anyone who's done a park run the day before, I'll give them a shout out. And it's also an opportunity to share photos of us at those events as well. So wearing the shirt, and we're either at our local park run or we've gone somewhere else, or we've had meetups, that type of thing. So we've got a WhatsApp group too. So people can join, that are hopefully would like to wear the shirt and be part of it. And that's a great way to kind of share photographs. But we've also done meetups, haven't we? So generally, it starts there each time, doesn't it? As to where can we do a meetup, and how many people can come along, and what's a good day for that? And the next one's yours, isn't it? At your park run.
yeah. So you're coming to Bournemouth, and I think a couple of more people said they could do that. Yeah, we've got a good movement around Hampshire in particular, and yeah, the other location there's a group one is Southport
Yeah.
in David Unwin's neck of the woods.
Yeah.
But if anyone wants to start another little hotspot in the UK or elsewhere, yeah, it's just an easy thing to do, really. It's kind of inviting whoever's relatively near for a run, and then coffee and bacon and eggs or whatever you want to do.
Yeah. And the fab thing is that, you get everyone together, you're all wearing the shirt,
Yeah,
and you're inevitably got people coming up to you then saying, well, what's this all about? Instead of you just being one shirt, suddenly we've got 12, and
yeah.
or more.
Kind of
And
multiplies the effectiveness, doesn't
of
it?
course
So,
it does. And of course, there's no reason why we can't just, and we've done this before, and we've gone up to the run director beforehand and said, oh, could you give Real Food Runners a shout out?
yeah,
And they'll do it. They're usually happy to do it. I'm a run director myself, so I know if someone come up and said, oh, could you give us a shout out, because a group of us have met up. And of course, once again, it's a great opportunity for people to go, oh, what's that? Real Food Runners, what's that all about? So I guess the people we're appealing to, obviously we'd love to get the message out to everybody, but the people that we're really appealing to are the people that get it. Because what we want to do is give you an opportunity to be able to help spread that message. So the people who understand about the damage that ultra processed food does to us and our families, and maybe they just rock up at a park run generally, do their run and go have a coffee and go home, and no one has a clue that they're in this kind of world. Whereas this is now a great opportunity. We've got lots of public health collaboration ambassadors that have joined, and outside the PHC as well, where they have that opportunity now. They've got something like the vegan runners. They've got something where they can go. And we're now getting this. I mean, this is exciting. We're now getting more real food runners appearing at certain park runs, and they don't even realize that there's another one there. In fact, you had one this weekend where somebody else was there, and they were also a real food runner. But unfortunately, you didn't see each other.
No,
but
I was
isn't
wearing
that
my
great?
shirt.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
I
you were
didn't.
wearing your shirt. Hopefully they were wearing theirs, but maybe you just didn't see each other. But isn't that great that we're now? It's not we're not just got one person in a park run.
Yeah.
We're starting to get more than one turn up at different events. And like you say, one day you never know. Maybe we'll have thousands of people who are part of Real Food Runners, the same way as there are thousands that do vegan runners as well. So just to pick up on the, you can join on the group with Parkrun. For anyone who's thinking, oh yeah, but I've already got a running group, so I can't do that. Well, you can have up to 5. So most people don't have anywhere near that amount. So if you're already part of some other running group, local running group, then that's fine. You can still add Real Food Runners. So you just do it through Manage My Profile, I think it is. You get it on your results email. You click through there, find Real Food Runners in the group, and then you can add yourself in there, and then we'll give you a shout out on a Sunday morning. So this recording we've done is especially for Liberate, isn't it? Which is part of the public health collaboration. This is to do with food addiction and trying to overcome food addiction and all the challenges that brings up. So this isn't necessarily a video that's going out to anyone else. We wanted to do it for them because they invited us on, didn't they, a few weeks ago, but unfortunately didn't get a chance to record it. So they said, would you mind recording something so they could just revisit kind of the main messages and get involved if they would like to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing about, I'll add just a bit on addiction. Like, it's a nice addiction when you get your email time each week from Parkrun.
Yeah.
And, that's another way of getting your dopamine hit. So yeah, like I certainly look forward to getting the email time. If it's a new venue or you get a PB and a little shout out, don't you? So I mean, yeah, it's a different form of and a healthier form of a dopamine hit.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
and if you're having like a real food breakfast, getting your eggs in, hopefully that's making you feel good, and you're kind of avoiding the less healthy addictions like ultra processed stuff. So
yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. It's trying to find another avenue, isn't it, for I guess because a lot of time we can eat out of board. I had this chat this week in one of the groups that I run, and we all agreed. A lot of the food decisions we make isn't actually about our tummies. It's actually going on up here, isn't it, in our heads, isn't it? And it can be out of boredom. It can be out. So those sorts of things. I always say, or emotions. I've had a bad week, or I've had a good week, or whatever it is, a celebratory type feeling. So trying to find other avenues for that, something like Parkrun, and getting your result and feeling like you're making some kind of improvement.
Or just the social connection as well. Like if you meet people at the start and the finish, that's just a dopamine hit as well. So
yeah, absolutely. Anyway, great. Thanks for chatting with me, Ollie. It's always good to catch up. And if anybody wants to get in touch with us, they can do through the normal. I guess our emails are out there, and obviously through social media as well. So if they need to catch up with us or ask us anything about Real Food Runners, then please get in touch, or through the website. You can email through there, and I'll always get back to anyone who gets in touch. So yeah, great. We'll see everyone at a local park run at some point, hopefully. Cheers, Ollie.